Hey everyone, welcome to our parent meeting via video. We are coming to you. This is Mike Kent, who is one of our directors and owners of the gym, and I am the club coordinator, Tiffany Dagley, and one of the owners as well. Mike McCurry is actually off getting some supplies for the gym, so we're going to handle this meeting ourselves. But thank you so much for watching the entire thing. We're just going to hope for the best that you are doing that, so that we can help you and answer any questions that you might have going into practice week. All right, so we're just gonna basically go over the parent-player handbook, and this can be found on our website along with other forms and things that you have signed. If you want a picture or if you want a copy of what you have signed, the e-documents, just let us know. I can forward you those very easily. All right, so we're just gonna start with basically page 1 of it. And again, you can find this on our website. It's under the About Us tab, and then scroll down to Forms and United Moments, and that has different forms on there. All right, so your commitment. All right, so when you commit to a team, you're committing to the entire season and the entire season's fees. When you commit to a team, we stop with however many people we put as one position. Let's say you might have 1 or 2 setters. We don't add more than that. Same thing with Libero DSs. We only have a few of those. So if you decide February, March that you are finished, you are destroying the makeup of the team. So we just want to reiterate that over and over again. We appreciate the fact that you guys have allowed us to coach and be with your girls. So we ask that you would commit to the same thing, that you would commit to the entire season with us. It's very detrimental when we lose a player. The next thing we want to talk about is the e-documents. So you had 3 e-documents that you had to do before tryouts, and I appreciate you guys getting those done before tryouts, but there are 2 more now, so there's 5 in total in order for your child to be able to play with us here at Katy United. The other 2 are the parent-player handbook, which we are going over now. Hopefully you read that somewhat before you signed it, and then the next one would be the payment agreement. So those 2 are mandatory, and they need to be signed via e-doc in order to participate. If you cannot find these in your inbox, please go to your search bar and maybe your junk mail or something like that and put in the word sign now. That is the third-party group that we use to put all of our documents through. So it would be sign now, and then it's gonna say e-doc.doc. If you cannot find that, or if you're not sure if you've done this yet or not, some of you did them back in August and you just can't remember, just shoot me an email real quick and I can tell you've done them, or if you haven't, but please look for those. The next thing on your sports CRM account, some people are still having a hard time finding their account, and I'm having to go back through constantly and reset passwords and things, and that's fine if you can't remember. I'd rather you do that than create a new account because they don't join up. What you need to do is just go to our website, katyunited.com, and the top right, there is a register tab. Click the register tab, and then top right again is a login. So register, log in, and then use the same credentials that you use to set up your account. This will take you to an open page that shows on the left-hand side different sidebars. One of them is invoices. Click on that and you'll be able to pay from there. All right, let's see. Next thing on Sports CRM. If you are not receiving the club email updates, which are generally about once a week. My last one went out on, I believe, Saturday, might have been Friday morning last week, Saturday maybe. If you did not get that, you need to go to your Sports CRM account and check out your daughter, like your family member's account. If her email is in that, if her email address is in that and not yours, she's getting the emails. So please put a parent email address on your player's account. That way you're getting the emails and not her. All right, moving on, let's see. All right, also on this part of the first page of the parent-player handbook, we do discuss, of course, the fees, the $600 commitment fee, your season fees, but then the next thing is the possibility of going into another pandemic where we have to shut the gym down for any amount of time at all. There is on our website a tryout letter that was sent home to all the girls that were given a spot or received a spot offer from us. They got this tryout letter, and we want you guys to go back and read it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it does talk about if we were to miss practices and how much you would get back in a credit refund and that. And then if you miss tournaments and the specific tournaments. So please go through that and see what we've done. We will be stopping payments this year if we get to the point to where we're not in the gym anymore. Last year we continued payments and then offered credits. This year we're going to stop payments if we are no longer able to get in the gym for practices. So just bear with us. Of course, we keep saying that a lot of times. We have no clue what this is going to look like, but we're hopeful. We are really excited about the season, and I'm sure you guys are as well. The next thing that I want to mention is if you are heading out of town for some out of town tournaments, you will be missing school. So there's at least one tournament for sure, and that's Lone Star Classic, that every year the girls miss at least maybe a Friday or a Monday. So that is something that you guys need to prepare for. Let your girls know they are responsible for a lot of the their schoolwork on their own. If you want to request a UIL excuse letter from us that you can give to your school system to maybe get an excused absent for that, you need to email me and I will send you one with the specifics on it. But I will go ahead and say, though, Katy ISD does not accept this. You will still end up getting an unexcused for that, but at least it's good to have it in their system. So, you know, they may, I mean, because of COVID, who knows what they're doing at your school systems with absence, but in the past, they have not. Let's see, moving on. The next thing I want to go over is the uniforms. So first, let me just say that our uniform packages have not arrived. I have almost everything. I do have uniforms. I don't have backpacks yet, and I don't have the red pullovers yet, and I don't have practice shirts. So we're just everything just kind of slowed down, and everything's taking a little bit longer. I think people waited till the last minute, so now they're just jammed up with lots of things to print and get finished. So we will not be sending home the player package until it is complete. I don't like sending onesie twosies, wondering what they're missing. So we will keep everything. So for the first week of practice, for your first practice, you can wear your favorite college t-shirt, something like that, your favorite team. It might be an NFL team, could be NBA, something like that. So for your first night of practice, you can wear a favorite team. It might even be your school team. For the second, it's your favorite sports, hero? What kind of hero? Superhero. Not a sports hero, a superhero. All right, so that's your second night of practice. And we're really hoping, they've told us that we'll have everything by the 11th. So I'm hoping your second week of practice, you will have everything that you need in your player package. We will probably go ahead though, that first week, just to get them out of here. We're gonna send home that first order that was the online store order. We're gonna send that home. So about the uniforms, I'm just gonna say this a couple of times. I'm sure the coaches are gonna go over this greatly with the girls. Carry all your uniform pieces for every tournament every day. So they're going to be getting 2 uniform jerseys, 2 pair of spandex. So I recommend carrying all of that with you constantly. The girls that are on the Adidas teams, you'll have a 3rd jersey. You can carry that as well. Please put the things that are inside your backpack, please put them inside of a Ziploc baggie just to make sure that they're staying protected. I've seen some with sunscreen on them. I've seen some with Gatorade spilled on them. And so I would really ask that you would just take care of your uniforms. And then with that, the way that you wash them, we highly recommend that you wash them in cold by themselves with nothing in it that has like maybe Velcro or something, because it will snag your uniforms. And then to hang dry them if at all possible. I understand sometimes you're in a hurry, but the best thing is to always hang dry your things. The pullover and the pants, they could shrink, but it is unlikely, but the colors could fade. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Knee pads, we beg you to please wash your girls' knee pads. It is better for their skin, number one, but it's also better for the smell of their backpack and the smell of the gym. So please wash and dry all your things. Next, if you lose or if you ruin, if you soil your uniform package and you have to buy another set, the set for the national team is $250. The set for the sub-national teams are $200, and you will have to get replacement jerseys with the same number, so the whole package has to be redone. The bad thing is that you are not going to get your same number. You will get what we have in stock. So if you're number 4, you may be number 74 coming back. All right, let's see. I think that that's all we're gonna talk about with that page. Moving on to the player code of conduct. This is something that we are gonna end up talking with the girls, with coaches and the girls together. So this is not something I'm going to go over right now. All right, so the next part we're going to go over is the parent code of conduct. And I always love going over this page because I have a great understanding of what you guys are wondering and thinking. I am the parent of a volleyball player, and she's still playing, not in the gym anymore. She is playing college ball now, but I completely understand things. So if you ever need to contact us because you're just wondering about things, just email, and then that's just something that I can handle myself. Then we'll talk about that. But if not, we're going to go over the communication process in just a bit. So let's go over the things on the parent code of conduct. The first one is to give constructive criticism to your kiddo only. And I'm stressing that big time because so many parents walk up to a kid at a tournament, hey, do this instead, you got it, girl, something like that. They really take that as a negative. So I'm just telling you guys, just be very careful with your communication with other kids that are not your own, but even for your own daughter, be positive, get her through that tournament. So we ask you guys to be an advocate for, to just be a big fan for your kiddo. Please, no sideline coaching. So a lot of times it could be yelling what you would be doing instead of what the coach is doing during play, during a tournament, but it could also be trying to just be courteous and going up to the coach afterwards in private saying, hey, I would really rather see you do this, or so-and-so is a better server than this one. You should probably shuffle that around. We really would ask that you would refrain from doing that. Let our coaches coach. We've got some really great coaches in the gym and they're being trained constantly. So let our coaches, staff do what they do. Refrain from profanity. Please, that should just be expected. Abide by the doctor's decisions. And we'll go over this again in just a second when we talk about practices. But we would really appreciate it that you would communicate with us when your kiddo's gone to the doctor, when they have done something and they're injured. If they are feeling sick, especially now, please keep them at home. And again, we'll go over this again in just a bit when we talk about practices, but we need you guys to abide by the doctor's rules. Expect the officials to make mistakes. You guys, it's awful. It's continuous, and you know that. They don't need parents getting on to them. And first of all, remember that you are representing us, especially if you've got one of our shirts on, if you're standing on our side of the court. Just be very careful what you say. Because this is like, you're right up against that sideline. You're right next to those referees. So be real careful about putting too much pressure on them. And also too, I'm just gonna mention the flag girls on the corners. Don't talk down about them, just let it go. Our girls make mistakes too, so just let that one go. Don't criticize the opposing team or players. Next one is to address issues as they arise. Don't let things just brush it underneath the rug. When you see things that start coming up, we're going to go over this in the communication page, but we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what's going on. So we're going to talk about that a bit later, but please address things as they come up. Refrain from speaking negatively about a coach or a player to other parents or to the players. This is one of the most detrimental issues that can happen inside of a club. When one parent feels something, thinks they feel something, thinks they saw something, and they start telling another parent, and it becomes this huge snowball thing when it probably was a nothing. Also too, whenever your coach is doing something and you and your player, you and your daughter are talking about it later, be very careful about drawing a negative light around the club, around the coach, around other players on the team. Just do your very best to talk positive only and to keep the negativity at bay. Something that I want to mention along all of these lines, refrain from doing this, refrain from doing that, is don't forget that you are also being recruited by those college coaches. So if your daughter is aspiring to be a college player, she's not the only one being looked at. So you just want to make sure that you're being very careful about what you say and how you act on the sideline and how you even interact with your daughter after playtime. So just be very careful about that. All right, so working with preteens and teenagers has its ups and downs, and we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love being around these girls. There are parts of it that are wonderful and other parts are really hard to deal with. But we would ask that you guys trust us in this. We know that a lot of parents want to discipline their kiddos because of something that they've done wrong, or they want to pull them away from the team because the team has maybe hurt your daughter. Please allow us to handle a lot of these situations. And we would ask too that you would not withhold practices or tournaments from your daughter because she has done something wrong and you're disciplining her for that. It really hurts the rest of the team. So we would ask that you not do that. If you see something come up or if something's going on at home, we would ask that you would let us know. You don't have to let your immediate coach know if it's something that's really bad and y'all are working on it at home. You can let one of us know. You can email me and we can kind of see where that would fall, and we're going to help you guys out with that. Let's see, we're going to go over the coach's code of conduct, but one thing that we want you to understand, we've already gone over with the coaches their code of conduct, but what we want you to understand is we've asked our coaches not to engage in certain conversations with parents, especially with dropping off a kiddo and talking with a coach out in the parking lot, or even certain discussions that need to happen at a specific time, but yet you think, oh, I'm at a tournament, we're just walking to the car, I'm going to mention this. We've asked our coaches not to engage in certain conversations. So if they say, you know what, just email me on Monday, that really is because we've asked them not to engage in that. It's not because they don't want to chat with you, they don't want to talk about it. It's really because they're protecting the club and themselves. So just understand that. And we've also asked them not to hang out with the families. They are not to be drinking with families at the bar, parents at the bar, or don't offer to take them out that night. We've asked them to stay away from the parents. Now, if you have a team dinner and everyone's going to be there and the coach is invited to come and they have dinner, something with the team, and then they leave, it is not because they don't want to hang out with you. We have asked them not to do that. So please just remain professional with your coach. And we thank you very much for doing that and for respecting that. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about just gym rules and practices, and then we'll follow that up with a little bit of tournament information. Go ahead, Mike.
All right. So with our practice rules for this year coming into the gym for the kids, it's obviously going to look a little bit different. We have changed our COVID policy for how we're going to be bringing the kids into the gym. So we are going to allow the kids to bring their own water into the gym now, in big jugs if they want it, and then bring that back home with them. We're also going to allow them to bring backpacks into the gym as well. The one thing that we are going to change is that we're going to ask that all players wear masks to all the practices and wear them during practice. The big reason why is because we've been notified that depending on where we play this year, certain cities or tournaments probably will be requiring masks. So we want to make sure that our kids are used to practicing in masks ahead of time, and it's not a big difference and not a big change when they do get to a tournament where it does require the mask. So that is a couple of the big changes that we'll be making. We'll also be putting that on our website and changing our COVID policy on the website as well to reflect that. When kids do come in, they're still going to be required to get their temperature checked, and they still are going to be getting hand sanitizer on the way in and also on the way out, so that will stay exactly the same. We ask that all kids show up about 15 minutes before practice starts. We will not start allowing kids in until about 5 minutes beforehand, just to make sure there's not a lot of time where we have the gym full with 6 teams or all the kids that are coming in and out for the change. We're still going to do the same thing where we're going to have our kids come in the main entrance and then leave throughout the back door as well, and that goes for both gyms. This year it's going to be a little bit different with our drop off and pick up, especially at Vanderbilt. We're going to ask that all of our kids who are driving themselves to practice, that they're going to go ahead and park along the building across from our gym. We're going to ask that all parents please leave that space available for the kids who are driving themselves. And if you are a parent that's picking up, we're going to go ahead and kind of do our pickup like we've been doing for summer camps, where we'll have a little loop that comes in by the back door, and then you'll pick up your kids and you'll be driving right back out as well. So again, this is going to be a very fluid situation. It's going to be very hectic and crazy during pickup and drop off time. So please stay flexible with us as well, because we're hoping that this will work. But again, this could change if we can figure out if this isn't working and if something may be better. In regards to tournaments, we ask that you guys please refer to your coaches who have been told expectations by us. The big thing that we want to just emphasize is that you're always there at least an hour early before your start time. And then please be prepared that parking wherever you go is going to be tough. So please plan for that as well. So for instance, if you have an 8 a.m. start, or you're supposed to be there for 8 a.m. game, we ask that you be there at least by 7 o'clock, and that should give you guys plenty of time. Do you have anything you want to add about that?
Why don't you talk about illness, missing
Yes,
practices?
so with practice this year as well, Obviously, illness is going to be a big concern for us. If your daughter feels sick at all, we're going to ask that she not come into the gym. She will not be penalized. She will not lose playing time if she's not feeling well. We want to make sure that we stay on the safer side. And if anything seems different or weird, she doesn't feel good, it's a totally excused practice. Now, with that being said, if you are missing practice because you're playing a different sport or you want to go to the rodeo, that's a totally different story. So each coach will have their own set of rules based on if you miss practice for an unexcused reason, what the consequence may be. So your coaches will be going over that with you as well. But I just wanted to reiterate that again, you will not be punished for missing practice due to not feeling well, especially this year. If you do have a positive case, we're going to ask to make sure that you get tested. You'll be quarantined for at least 14 days and must have a negative test before you're allowed to come back into gym as well. So with that being said, I want to move on to just kind of what we're going to be doing training. We're going to be keeping the same for our practice gyms this year, is that we are still not going to be allowing parents in as of right now. We want to make sure that we're trying to stay as safe as possible, and the less people that we have in the gym, the better it is for us right now. We just unfortunately do not have a gym that can handle a lot of people in it at once. Hopefully that will be changing here very soon as we move into our new gym. But for as of right now, we're going to make sure that we do not have parents in the gym for practices. The one thing that we've asked our coaching staff, since they know that this is happening, is that they do a really good job communicating with you guys. We've asked them to send out bi-weekly emails for you guys, giving you a heads up if you have tournaments coming up, but also just what we're doing in the gym, how practices are going, what we've been working on, what's been going well, what hasn't been going well, so that way you guys are informed of what's going on with your daughter's team as well. So with that being said, our training is going to be a little bit different this year. We've really changed the structure of our staff and how we're going to be setting up our training. One of the big things that we wanted to change from last year to this year is we wanted to make sure that we brought coaches in who are much more like teachers. We really want to make sure that we're doing our best possible job training and teaching. So we've changed our structure, and instead of just having one person over our training, we've actually changed it so that we actually have age group coordinators now. The job of an age group coordinator is they're going to be providing practice warm-ups and practice drills for all the coaches in their age groups. They're also going to be making sure that our coaches are meeting our age group expectations that we have set as a club. So every single age group has a list of skills and systems that we expect them to know as they progress throughout their year. And our age group coordinators are going to make sure that practices are geared towards that, and that we're going to make sure during practices that those skills are being met. They're also going to be meeting with our coaches bi-weekly in their age group to make sure that practices are running efficiently and making sure that we're doing everything that we can for our kids to get them trained a little bit better and a little bit more specifically. So for this year, Coach Kay Lockhart is going to be in charge of our 11 and 12-year-old training. She'll be, again, meeting with all the coaches in those age groups, and you'll be seeing her out on the course with those age groups as well. Coach Kat Axon will be in charge of our 13s and 14s training. So again, you'll see her on the court and meeting with those coaches all the time. Coach Terry Gamble is going to be in charge of our 15s and 16s training. And again, you'll see him on the court working with all the coaches as well. And then Mike McCrary is going to be in charge of our 17s and 18s. And again, he'll be with those teams. I'll kind of be overseeing all of our age group coordinators, and again, making sure that we are on the same page. Our goal this year is to make sure that we are absolutely consistent across the board. We think it's going to be really advantageous for us to have a little bit more micromanaging instead of kind of overseeing the entire club, so we can be a lot more specific with how we train and then how we communicate as well. So our goal is to make sure that we have the same language, the same training techniques, all the way from 11 years old until 18 years old. Another position that we also added this year is we have Phil Guerrero, who's new to the club, who's going to be a master coach of all of our training. So you're going to see Phil on the course of all of our teams, and he doesn't even have a team this year, but he's going to be adding extra help. So you'll see multiple coaches on courts this year, which we think is going to be really, really helpful for us as well. So I mentioned earlier that we have age group expectations. We'll actually be listing our age group expectations on our website. So if you look underneath our documents, you'll be able to see what we expect for all the way from our Starlights, which is our developmental, all the way down to our 17s and 18s. We asked our coaches when we met with them for our training meeting that they need to make sure that one, all the previous age group expectations have been met from the years before, and then they go through their age group. And then if they are confident that their team has mastered those skills, they then can move on to the next year age group as well. So we want to make sure that we're being very consistent and hitting all those skills as we go throughout all of our different age groups. Our 18s is a little different. We don't have age group expectations for our 18s, but what we try to do with our 18s is we try to lean on what their college coaches, who they're going to play for, want and are asking out of them, and we kind of tailor our training for the individual player at 18 based on what their college coaches are asking for. With playing time, so we have 3 different levels here. We have a local level, a regional level, and a national level. We also have at our club a standard performance. Our standard performance is just basic expectations that we expect our players to adhere to. And we have it here. Our coaches have this in their coaching binder. This will also be on our website that you can find underneath the documents. But essentially, all of our playing time is based on following these 6 major expectations of our standard performance for your daughter to get playing time. If they adhere to those 6 things that our coaches will be going over with them almost every single practice, they're going to be in pretty good shape. But overall, what we're looking for is at a local level, we expect everyone to get playing time every single tournament. It might not be equal playing time, just with volleyball. Positions are very specific. Some players are 3 rotation players, some are 6 rotation players, but we do expect everyone to get playing time throughout every single tournament. If you are on a regional level, again, we are going to do our best to get you playing time every single tournament, but especially as we get towards some of the bigger tournaments, our main goal is to win. If we are in contention, the bench might be a little bit smaller, but if we do get knocked out, then the coaches have been made aware that we want to make sure we get every single person playing time as well. And then at the national level, we're doing whatever we can to win every single tournament. So there's no promise of playing time. But again, the one thing that we have also asked our coaches at all 3 levels is, especially at the beginning of the year for the first couple months, we're asking that all players do get playing time so that they have the chance to compete and show what they can do on the court. So we have many early tournaments in December and January and February. We also have in-house scrimmages as well, and that's going to be the chance for all the players to get out there and compete and show what they can do. But every single player will have an opportunity to compete. The last thing I have is we also have a list of major dates as well. All your coaches have this. I know I've seen the multiple coaches have already emailed all these out to their team as well. This will also be on our website as well, under documents. Essentially what it goes over, when we start our season, the date of all of our in-house scrimmages and what times they are, and then all of our breaks as well. For the most part, we follow a KDISD schedule. I think the only difference is Thanksgiving break is we will be practicing on that Monday and Tuesday, where I think they have the whole week off for Thanksgiving break. But besides that, it's essentially exactly the same. The other big change is that over spring break, we will be playing and practicing. You have about a 95% chance of your team either playing that first weekend of spring break or that second weekend of spring break. And we will keep our practice times exactly the same for spring break as well. So if you are a Monday, Wednesday at 7:30, it will be exactly the same for that week as well. Besides that, that's really all I have.
Okay. Cool. All right, so we're going to finish the meeting with the communication procedure. This one's really important, and we can't stress this enough that if you follow this communication procedure, really things become either a non-issue or they get taken care of very quickly as long as you follow this. So if an issue, something like coach's decision, playing times, practice, etc., all of those things, we ask that you would email your coach and not try and catch them in between practices or out in the parking lot or, like I said earlier, walking back and forth to the hotel after a tournament. Please make sure that when an issue arises, it is emailed to the coach. With that said, we ask that you wait 48 hours to make this contact. So if it is something where you're at a 2-3 day tournament, the 48 hours starts the last day of the tournament. So if you're in that if you're at that tournament and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you need to wait Monday, Tuesday before you even email the coach. So I just want to make sure that we always wait for that 48 hours. That just allows you to cool down and get a better perspective of things. And it's also great for the coach as well to be able to really look back and kind of see how they felt about it. And generally, they're going to have a conversation with one of the mics or with that age group coordinator after a tournament, just to really let them know, hey, this is what's going, how should I handle this in the future? So you have no idea if your coach is really already working on that. And so give them time to process that. The first way of communication, like I said, is that email. If this is something that you feel like you guys need to have a talk with your coach, we want the player to do the talking with the coach first. So that first meeting is a player-coach meeting. And this is something that's learned. The kiddos have to learn how to do this. But in our club, we're not only teaching these girls how to be great volleyball players, we want to teach them great etiquette. We want to teach them how to have conversation with coaches and with adults. We want to make sure that we do a really good service in this and to help you guys teach your kids how to have these conversations. They're tough and we get it. It's hard for 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kiddo to go up to an adult and tell them some really tough stuff. So with that being said, if you feel like you need to be there, we ask that you're there. If your child is more comfortable having a parent there, that's fine. But in that first meeting, we would ask that you be a silent partner in that. Just listen, just take it in for them. Then when you get together, just say, hey, tell me what you heard, and I'm gonna tell you what your coach was actually saying. If there's a discrepancy in between that really helps out for the parent to be there. But we would ask that you would allow the child to have that meeting first with them before you jump in and interject. If the issue does not get resolved with that player-coach meeting, then email the coach again and set up a parent-child or parent-player-coach meeting. The player always has to be there. This is not something where we're gonna remove the player from the meeting and just let the parent and coach go for it. We really want that player there. So no meetings are gonna happen if the player is not able to be there. Then the third one would be if after you've had that meeting with the parent, player, and the coach, things are still not resolved, then you need to email again and request to have one of us there. So it's either going to be me or Mike Kent or Mike McCrary. So we will make sure that we are there in that next meeting and we'll get it all figured out. So anyways, if you guys have any questions about this, please let me know, because we want to make sure that we are not only helping out as best we can, but that we're teaching your kiddo how to have some great conversations. Something that I want to say about this as well, and learning how to have this conversation with an adult or with a coach, that is something that these players, if they want to play college sports, they need to be very comfortable speaking with a coach. They need to be comfortable in asking questions and talking about themselves and their strengths and their weaknesses and things like that. So this is one of the things that we like about this part of our communication process, is that it teaches these kids how to communicate with a possible college coach in the future. So just keep that in mind. It's not because we are trying to hurt them or hurt you or break you away from them. We just really enjoy seeing these kids grow in lots of these different ways, and this is just another part of that. So with that, I think that we've finished our meeting. Yep. If there's anything that you guys have and questions and things like that, if there's anything that you need to know, please check with your coach first, always now. A lot of times we'll get things in email form and I immediately have to send it to the coach because I don't know the answer to it. If it's something about your account, of course, that's gonna come to us. But now your communication is gonna go through your coach. And we're excited. We're really close to getting started. So we hope that you guys have an amazing 2020-2021 season. And we're just thrilled. So let's go KU.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Thank you. Bye.